To Stephen Kinnock, member of the Brexit Select Committee, the Labour MP for Aberavon. Stephen, this is all becoming a real mess, and it doesn't seem to me that there is any real, I don't know, I don't think there's any real interest in sorting it out.
Well, I think you're right, James, that it's a terrible mess. The Prime Minister is a bit like, when you play chess and you've got just the king left on the board and you're in the corner and you're surrounded and it's one move from checkmate. She is absolutely cornered. Whichever way she looks, she's either got the hard Brexiteers, or she's got the DUP, or she's got the European Union, or she's got the more pro-European side of her own party. It really doesn't seem that there's any way through. There is, of course, a way through, which is that she should just isolate the DUP, isolate her hard Brexiteers, and push ahead with a Brexit based on the European Economic Area and a customs union. There is a clear parliamentary majority for that across both Labour and Conservative benches. And if she had the courage and the leadership, that's what she would do.
Well, what about your leader? I mean, he didn't seem, I'm afraid, to come up with anything, really. There was a clear-cut response to what she said. In fact, it seemed to me that the fight had gone out of Parliament today.
Well, maybe
I'm a bit harsh, but
yeah, we are clear in our position that we want a customs union, and that would go a very long way to solving the Irish border issue, and it would also go a very long way to protecting our economy. The thousands and thousands of good jobs, for example, in the car industry that rely on complex just-in-time supply chains. You can only retain that through a customs union. So that's clear Labour Party policy and has been for some time. She would solve so many of her problems if she could commit to that, because she keeps saying that Chequers is the way forward, but the European Union has totally rejected Chequers, as you'll recall from the Salzburg summit. So maybe you're right. Today was, some bits of it were quite subdued in Parliament, some were quite feisty, but I think that people recognise that we've got this Prime Minister who just keeps on flogging a dead horse. And when you've got a leader who's flogging a dead horse, it's almost embarrassing, because we keep on telling her this isn't going to work, and she just will not listen. So I think that's why we're in a stalemate, and everybody's waiting now to see what happens over the coming days, weeks and months.
What is the way forward? I mean, if this is a stalemate, what will the outcome be later this month?
So, as I've been saying now for 2 years, the only way through this is for us to assert our right to remain in the European Economic Area, to combine that with a form of customs union. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, that's not really leaving the EU, but it is. You leave the political institutions. You send a very clear message to your people that we're no longer part of this so-called integrationist superstate. We are an independent country. Yes, we're very closely aligned with the single market, but that's what you have to be when you want to protect jobs, when 46% of your trade is with the EU. So she's got to face down the hard Brexiteers, isolate them, and there is a clear parliamentary majority, because if she did that, Labour would have to vote with her Brexit deal, and she's got at least half, if not two-thirds, of her own benches that would vote with it as well. So there you are, bingo, you have the numbers.
I know you've got to go, but finally, what on earth is the out? Are we going to get a second referendum? Are we going to get a people's vote? It seems that a lot of people now are concerned about what leaving the EU may mean to their jobs.
So it's all in the hands of Parliament, and let's assume that some sort of deal gets done in Brussels. Theresa May will bring that back in late November, because there's going to be an emergency summit in November to get this done. It's clearly not going to get done this Wednesday and Thursday. When she brings that motion before Parliament, we will have the opportunity to amend it. It looks like the first amendment will be Jeremy Corbyn's amendment saying we should have a general election. Assuming that doesn't pass, probably there'll be a second amendment for a people's vote. I personally don't think that there's a parliamentary majority for a people's vote. I haven't met enough Tories or Labour MPs who would back it. I'm hoping that we can then have a third amendment, which is to have European Economic Area plus a customs union, because as I've said, I think that's the only way that we solve Northern Ireland and protect the economy. If all of that fails, then we go to the motion, which would be whichever deal Theresa May has brought back. If that passes, then that's it. We leave on that basis. If it fails to pass, then the government has until the 21st of January to come up with a statement about what we do next. But we will also be able to vote on that. And so she can't take us out on the basis of no deal. And I think that it could well be that this plays all the way through to January. And I hope by then the government will see sense and do the right thing.
Well, I hope you're right, Stephen. This is the one heck of a mess that we're in this country at the moment, and the problem I have is an unnecessary mess as well. Stephen, for the moment, thank you very much indeed. Stephen Kinnock, member of the Brexit Select Committee, also the Labour MP for Aberravon. Not Aberdeen.